$1,472.60.
Radar for these things?
Yes, all the units.
Oops. So you don't have anything for non-public?
No. This is just a memo of my comments today on the executive thing.
Okay.
We talked about.
Anybody have any follow-up questions with the sheriff? If not, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll get a copy of that one that you just gave us.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, I have one downstairs. I'll go and get that one. Yeah, that's true.
I'm downstairs, we'll get it.
Okay.
I got three other areas I'd like to talk about. The delegation wants us to come up with a reasonable use of the old mission home. And we did talk about more storage space for maintenance. We did talk about probation, possibly renting a 1,000 square foot portion of one of the wings.
No,
No.
not necessarily one of the wings. Could be in the core as well.
On the core.
We'd
That
have
might
to-
be
we'd
difficult.
have to
That might be
make it-
difficult, but,
yeah.
okay. It's at least in discussion
Right.
stages. I talked with Jack Cuddy, who is the executive director of the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council, about the possibility of a company that has grown in his building. In other words, he has an incubation type program where he has several companies start off small. They share some administration, secretarial help, or answering phones and so forth. And he has several of them, and he is pretty well built out as far as the space that he has available in Conway. So I talked with him on the phone yesterday. There may be some possibilities down the road, a year from now, for a company that has outgrown his space, that may use some of our space at a rental basis. And maybe that's for a short term, and they expand and they need to get a bigger facility somewhere else. I guess I would look at it as a possibility of creating more jobs. If they're going to be expanding, it would help here in Ossipee. In fact, one of the companies he has, some of the employees live here in either Effingham or Ossipee. And so it would be a benefit that would help an expanding company in creating jobs at the same time. And I think that's my interest. I think that's the problem with our economy. We need to expand. We need to have more jobs here. And if we can do that to help out, I think that might be a direction that we might want to move. Right now, regarding the wings, I am in support of keeping those two wings and not tearing down. We don't tear down the core section, we don't tear down the other two wings. We can mothball the two wings, cut the electricity, reduce the heat considerably, and keeping it for some future, maybe another company or somebody that might come in. We do need storage space. We haven't answered the question regarding a garage for the two buses that we have at the nursing home. That needs to be addressed. It's been an issue for a long time, just to keep the buses out of the winter conditions would be of benefit.
I would also say that we had a problem some months ago with regard to the dialysis. The dialysis sector, the dialysis people are looking in the Conway area at this time for a property. I would think, basically, because we're not ready to offer them anything, but if we have this, and they wanted to expand into the Ossipee area, we would have something there for them to build upon.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
from the colloquy that just took place, it sounds almost as though the county's contemplating, or sees itself as perhaps contemplating being what amounts to a commercial realtor acting on spec. Your proposal would have the county taxpayers in effect subsidizing small businesses. Well, if you're going to, what I want to get to is the county contemplating selling this off to a private developer, or alternatively tearing it down, rather than, in effect, looking for a use to justify keeping up some building?
It would be a rental. To me, I'm speaking for myself now, it would be a rental, it wouldn't be a sale. Yes, I do agree with you to a certain degree as to whether we want to get into a commercial leasing type program. On the other hand, if we can create jobs and we can get income as a result of renting, that may prolong the use of that space.
Well, if I may, I mean, my question is, if we're renting it below market, or,
Not necessarily.
well, if we're renting at market rates, then why not sell it off to a private developer who can rent it at market rates?
Well, if
Okay.
the, for example, if the dialysis people would be interested, they come in and they renovate to their needs, so that it would be their responsibility to do all of that. And how we dealt with, whether it be rental or sale to them, would be something we would look at in the future. But that's a big if.
Okay,
Understand?
thank you.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is probation still looking at
Yes.
state?
Yes.
They're willing to discuss. They're level funded. But to me, it would be great to have them on campus, close to the jail, because they deal with that facility.
And presently, they are in very cramped quarters and don't have enough space for what they need.
Yes, Dan?
So earlier in the meeting, Dorothy said, we're gonna definitely tear down 2 wings, or we're probably gonna tear down 2 wings, and now you said we're gonna keep 2 wings. Do you mean,
With 4 wings there.
right, there's 4 wings there, do you mean that you wanna keep all 4, or you wanna keep just 2?
No, just 2.
Okay.
For future use, plus we don't have the funds to tear down all 4 wings.
Okay.
We have funds to tear down the 2 that's in the new nursing home budget. Okay. But if anybody has some suggestions as for use of space, we would gladly want to discuss them, and I just bring this up as a possibility. Whether there's somebody that would be interested in doing that, I don't know. I think the first thing we need to do is try to convince the delegation that we could produce some revenue here to help reduce the tax burden on Carroll County taxpayers. Would be probably one of the ultimate goals. We do produce revenue, you know, in the farm budget, in the nursing home budget. Yeah, there's a little revenue produced at the jail for telephone use by inmates and so forth, and electronic monitoring. But the farm and the nursing home are the bigger revenue producers. Yes, ma'am?
I think it's a wonderful idea, you know, existing, but I think if you get into that rental situation, that the criteria for who and what you rent out to really needs to be pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I hope we don't go on like this economically forever, but at the current time, there is a lot of commercial real estate available for rent and for sale.
Right, very true. And some of these companies that are in Conway, may want to stay in Conway, basically.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wonderful idea, but I think you do have to kind of be careful that you have appropriate tenants
Right.
that fall in line with the mission statement of county
Yeah.
government.
Yep, yep. Okay,
We have a couple of things we have to do with regard to the minutes, we have to finish those, we have
Yep.
to vote on.
Yep.
landscape.
I want to bring up the landscape design that happened on Monday.
No, Friday,
It was
that's right.
Friday. We had 3 bids that came in, as was mentioned earlier. One from Conway, one from Sandwich, and I believe the other one was from Meredith.
No, it's for the concepts.
Anyway, the committee was pretty much, it was unanimous that we select Carol Jowdy, who is a landscape person out of the town of Sandwich. It goes along with, I think, our philosophy of trying to give as much as possible to Carroll County residents. And so she needs to, I've talked with her on the phone, there was a couple of questions that were asked as to exactly what she would charge for the landscape design, which she is coming up with, and also that she was one that was going to use pretty much all native type plant material, none of the exotic cutleaf maples and so forth. She was talking more about the old type gardens, especially the garden areas for the Alzheimer's.
Which he has a great deal of experience in.
Which he has a lot of experience with, and it's old type, fashion type plants like bleeding heart and some of the other things, lilacs, that are found around many of the homes. So she has been selected. We're just waiting for a couple of questions to be answered. She will also supervise the planting, and that is an additional fee, which she is going to tell us. And we will be putting out to bid all of the list of plant materials that will be used in the landscape. The problem that we may run into, and that is that as we move through the spring and the summer, we're going to be doing fall planting, and a lot of our nurseries in Carroll County buy their plant material in. They've already ordered that plant material, it's going to be delivered, and if it's sold out, then we may get, I don't want to say the leftovers, but those that are not as desirable as if we had put our order in first thing in the spring. What we can do about that, I'm not sure. I asked her to focus on the entranceway and the 2 garden areas. We can do the planting next spring maybe and get better quality plants. So, anybody got any comments on that? Okay. We have one other item that we need to vote on, and that is for the accessories for the new nursing home to the tune of $36,000. And to clear up a question that you had a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and also for Commissioner Kenny, TMD Designs is the overall company that we deal with. They have people in that are subcontractors to them. One of them is the artwork, which we passed a week or 2 ago, a couple weeks ago. And the problem was, the confusion was, is that we signed a contract with the art consultant, and we should have signed a contract with TMD Designs. They're the ones that have the overall responsibility. They're subcontracting out the artwork. So hopefully that will get straightened out. And the check is made out to TMD Designs for that artwork, that consulting business. So we need a motion to accept the accessories. And the accessories, my understanding, include the bedspreads, clocks, lamps, other accessories that go into the individual residence rooms. Sandy, am I correct?
We received that proposal as well, and again, that's who gave